我从小就有很多人帮我设限。
Growing up, a lot of people told me what I couldn't do, and for a long time, I believed those limits were real. But little by little, through hard work and determination, I discovered I could break through one barrier after another. That's when I realized that life shouldn't have limits. You have to be willing to take risks, to keep pushing forward. If you dare to strive, you can achieve more than you ever imagined.
爱拼才会赢。
Hello, welcome to Footprints. I'm Xingyu. I want to begin this episode with a quote from the blind American disability rights advocate Helen Keller. Although the world is full of suffering, it is full also of the overcoming of it. Today we're meeting a man who embodies that spirit. His name is Lu Hong. As a person with physical disabilities, Lu spent much of his life facing low expectations. But he refused to let others define his future. Instead, he built his own path and proved that a life full of possibility is still within reach. Just a short distance from Shanghai, in the city of Suzhou, 47-year-old Lu Hong is proud to showcase his new company. Based in a tech incubation park, the company specializes in electric traction heads designed to enhance the mobility of wheelchair users.
Many wheelchair users, like people with spinal cord injuries or high-level paralysis, really need to get out and about, but they rely entirely on their wheelchairs. Often they don't have enough arm strength to cover long distances, so we developed this traction head.
Attached to the front of a standard wheelchair, these devices turn manual chairs into powered vehicles, allowing users to travel farther with less effort and greater independence. For Lu, this idea first took shape about a decade ago. At the time, he was running a photo album company where most of his employees were people with disabilities. He noticed two workers struggled to get around outside the workplace. They later learned about wheelchair traction heads, but they were too expensive. So Lu decided to build something similar.
We took a scooter, cut off the rear section, and connected the front to a wheelchair. We built two. They were pretty rough-looking, but one worker told me, "This is the greatest invention in the world." Another said, "With this, it feels like I've been given a pair of wings." That's when I realized how much of a difference it could make. Some people even suggested that I start a factory to produce them. But at the time, my paper products business was taking off, and I didn't want to divide my attention, so I put the idea on hold.
But the words of those two workers stayed with him. As someone who had lived with a disability his entire life, Lu understood the obstacles that many people in the community faced every day. What he didn't know then was that a simple homemade solution for two employees would eventually grow into a new business, giving more people the freedom to move. Yet for Lu, the road to success was anything but easy. It was forged through years of setbacks, discrimination, and struggle. Born into an ordinary family in Suzhou in 1979, Lu faced challenges almost from the very beginning. When he was just 10 months old, a severe fever caused brain damage that left him with cerebral palsy. The condition affected his muscle control, making even the simplest movements difficult. He didn't learn to walk until he was 3 years old, and wasn't able to walk outside independently until the age of 7. His head often moved involuntarily from side to side. Although he learned to speak, many people had difficulty understanding him. With slurred speech, limited mobility, and an unsteady gait, Lu jokingly says, as a child, he looked like a penguin. But growing up with visible disability was no laughing matter. He often caught strangers staring at him. "Why are they looking at me?" he would ask his mother. "Because they like you," she would tell him. For a time, he believed her. But as he grew older, he came to understand that people weren't staring because they liked him. They were staring because he was different. School was especially difficult. No one wanted to sit beside him. Classmates mocked the way he walked. During physical education classes, while other children ran and played outside, Lu was often left alone in the classroom. Little by little, the isolation changed him. He became withdrawn and reluctant to talk to anyone. After middle school, Lu enrolled in a vocational school that promised job placement after graduation. But once again, reality proved far harsher than he expected. Getting an education had been difficult. Finding a job was even harder.
Some people turned me down politely, but many others looked at me with ridicule and contempt.
Rejection followed rejection, and humiliation became a familiar experience. For a long time, Lu sank into despair. He rarely left the house and began to withdraw from the world around him. Why is life so unfair? He asked himself that question countless times, but never found an answer. At one point, he even blamed his mother for bringing him into the world. As Lu struggled emotionally, another crisis was unfolding at home. His father became seriously ill, and the cost of treatment consumed nearly all of the family's savings. One day, Lu overheard a conversation between his parents. His father had decided to stop treatment to save the money for their son. "He needs it more," his father said. Before he passed away, Lu's father called his brother to his bedside and asked him to look after Lu. Unable to speak clearly and struggling to find work, Lu seemed destined for a life of dependence. His father even asked his uncle to find a nursing home for him, so he could spend the rest of his life there. Those words cut deeply. Lu realized that even his own father doubted that he could ever live independently. Yet his father's death also forced him to confront a reality. If he didn't want to be a burden in the family, he would have to find a way to stand on his own 2 feet.
I used to blame everyone, my parents, my friends, even society. I kept asking why nobody would help me. I was always depending on others, always waiting for someone else to change my life. Looking back, I realize that way of thinking was wrong. It's difficult to change other people. It may be even harder to change yourself, but you might have a future when you change yourself.
With the help of his uncle, Lu finally found his first job at a factory that made household utensils from galvanized iron sheets. The factory was far from home. To save money on transportation, Lu decided to learn how to ride a bicycle. For 3 months, he practiced relentlessly, often losing his balance and ending up in roadside ditches. Work presented another challenge. The job required workers to hammer iron sheets with speed and precision, two things that didn't come naturally to Lu. He often missed his target and struck his own fingers instead. But he refused to give up. Month after month, he kept practicing. And gradually, something began to change. The daily cycling strengthened his body, improving both his posture and balance.
因为我每天15公里路。
As I rode 50 kilometers every day, I realized as long as I could keep my bike in good condition, I'd always be able to get to work. So I started learning how to repair bicycles. Little by little, I became quite good at it.
我已经成为了一个修车高手。
Whenever his bicycle broke down, Lu would watch mechanics carefully, studying every step of the repair process. Then he would go home and try it himself. Over time, he learned how to dismantle an entire bicycle and put it back together. For Lu, it became another lesson in perseverance.
只要是你手能动，
Skills, he says, are not always a matter of talent. As long as your hands can move and your mind can think, consistent practice can take you much farther than you expect. Before long, Lu wasn't just repairing his own bicycle. He was fixing bicycles for his co-workers as well. He may have been slow when it came to hammering iron sheets, but he became known as a mechanic in the factory. And perhaps for the first time, he began earning the respect of people who had once looked down upon him. Lu worked at the factory for 2 years before he decided to leave. He opened a small roadside bicycle repair stall, which marked the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey. And the bicycle stall brought him more than just an income. It changed his life.
摆摊嘛，买摊，旁边又有一个小。
There was a young woman who ran a stall next to mine. As time went by, she started helping me with my business. And that's how I met my wife.
就收获了我的老婆。
At first, Lu would often help the young woman at the neighboring stall. Over time, friendship turned into love. A year after they met, the two got married. But even after marriage, Lu struggled with feelings of insecurity. Whenever they went out together, he would ask his wife to walk ahead of him. He worried that people would stare at them and judge his wife for being with him. His wife refused, as she accepted him as he was.
然后我有了我老婆之后，我觉得还有一种力量。
After I met my wife, I felt a new force driving me forward. It was gratitude. My wife is able-bodied. She's also very beautiful. I felt incredibly fortunate, and that sense of gratitude kept pushing me forward. So I began exploring different business opportunities. I ran a newsstand, a computer shop, an internet cafe, and even a breakfast restaurant. Over the years, I tried many different ventures.
Lu often says that without his wife, he might have spent the rest of his life repairing bicycles. But her faith in him gave him the confidence to dream bigger. In those years, Lu was constantly searching for new opportunities. After trying several businesses, he discovered he had a knack for working with computers. Eventually, he closed his other ventures and focused on producing digital photo albums and editing videos. One day, an elderly customer came to him with a special
老
request.
教授呢，正好跟他老婆，我
He wanted a digital photo album to celebrate his 50th wedding anniversary. Seeing the customer walking with a cane and struggling to get around, Lu offered to create the album free of charge. As it turned out, the elderly gentleman was a photography instructor at a local senior citizens university. Grateful for Lu's kindness, he offered to teach him photography in return. Lu eagerly accepted, and shortly afterwards, he had learned enough to open a photo studio of his own.
就能开店了。
But the start was far more difficult than he expected. For the first 2 months, not a single customer placed an order.
是顾客不相信我，顾客到了我。
People would walk into the studio, see Lu holding a camera, and walk right back out. Many simply couldn't believe that a man whose hands trembled could take good photographs. Determined to improve, Lu taught himself photo editing skills. He became so proficient that he was able to create a perfect ID photo of himself, correcting his tilted head and softening the facial distortions. Then he began offering free photo shoots to neighbors and friends. And slowly, word spread. Lu started to see people lining up outside his studio. Some even traveled from nearby cities such as Shanghai and Hangzhou. As the business grew, customers increasingly asked for albums to accompany their photos. To Lu, it looked like another opportunity. So he began researching album production. He hired several employees with disabilities and started experimenting with handmade paper albums. The business was finally gaining momentum until 2015, when everything fell apart. Lu met a man who proposed a business partnership. The man claimed to understand manufacturing and factory operations, but lacked the money to start a business of his own. Trusting him, Lu invested in new equipment and handed over much of the factory's management. But it turned out to be a costly mistake. The partner gradually pushed Lu aside. One by one, employees with disabilities were dismissed and replaced by his own relatives. Worse still, he redirected the company's customers to businesses under his own control.
My business was doing well at the time, but after this partner joined, maybe he thought I was easy to take advantage of. He took away all of our customers and gradually pushed us out. Little by little, we were left with no business at all.
Eventually, Lu decided to walk away. The partner refused to let him take the machines unless they were destroyed first. Rather than fight over them, Lu gave them up. Years of hard work vanished almost overnight, and he was left with nothing.
房租我交不起了，我没钱了，我没生意了，我没办法再干了。
I couldn't afford the rent, I had no money left, the business was gone, I couldn't keep going. But my wife said, "You still have us." The first thing she did was to borrow 200,000 yuan from her mother. My mother-in-law not only lent us the money, she cleared out her house so we could use it as a workshop. When my mother saw what had happened, she gave us another 200,000 yuan. And then there were my employees. They told me, "Boss, don't worry, we're not following you because of the salary. Even if you can't pay us this year, next year is fine, we'll stay with you." That moved me deeply.
With the support of his family and former employees, he gathered the team once again and started over. Looking back today, Lu says he doesn't hate the man who betrayed him. After all, although he had lost nearly everything, he also learned how the machines worked and how to run the production process himself, and that knowledge proved invaluable. From that small workshop, the business slowly recovered. Within a few years, it had grown into a thriving company. And at the company, one rule has remained unchanged. People with disabilities come first. Unlike most businesses, more than 70% of Lu's employees have disabilities.
大部分残疾人都是会被好多人瞧不起。
Many people with disabilities are looked down upon. Others assume we can't do this or that. But it's not that we can't, it's that we haven't been given an opportunity. Maybe we have to work a little harder, maybe it takes us a little longer. But we can do the job. And if we're given a chance, we can do it very well.
我就能完成得很好。
In Lu's factory, some employees operate computers with one hand. Some package products from their wheelchairs. For each person, Lu would find a role that matches their abilities. He also designs and modifies devices to help his employees work more comfortably.
我觉得我都能行。
If I can do it, I believe they can too. We can make it work together.
我们应该能搞成。
Over the years, as online retail took off, so did the company. Its photo albums were sold across China and exported to markets in North America, Europe, and beyond, with annual sales exceeding 10 million yuan.
有请陆红。
In 2023, Lu Hong received the Touching China Award, one of the country's highest honors for inspirational individuals. Standing on stage to accept the honor, there was one person he wanted to speak to most.
我很想对我天上的爸爸说一句话。
I want to say something to my father who is up in heaven, that I can support myself, I can provide for my family, and I can help many more people with disabilities.
更多残疾人
Lu says the award came as a complete surprise. Initially, he felt unworthy of it. Compared with the scientists, teachers, and public servants honored alongside him, he saw himself as just an ordinary businessman.
小工厂人，所以回来以后，我决定就是我要更加努力，能够。
After receiving the award, I decided to work even harder to deserve it. The first thing I did was start giving talks to students and to companies. I hope I can inspire more young people to complain less about life and believe in their future. I think we all need an attitude of wanting to win.
我感觉要抱着一种我想赢的态度。当然，这个难度特别高。
Of course, public speaking is difficult for me because I couldn't even speak clearly, so I practiced little by little. From my first speech to now, I've spoken at Peking University, Tsinghua University, and many well-known companies. So far, I've given more than 360 talks.
360多场。
Nowadays, Lu's original factory has expanded from 1,000 square meters to more than 5,000. It now produces not only photo albums, but also cultural products, gift sets, and a wide range of goods. In 2025, with support from the local Disabled Persons Federation, Lu ventured into an entirely new field: mobility devices for wheelchair users. In his new company, too, a majority of the employees have disabilities. Soon after production began, Lu traveled overseas for the first time in his life. He flew all the way to Europe to negotiate business deals and returned with an order for more than 1,300 devices. And Lu isn't stopping there.
我是一个做生意的人啊，我感觉做生意，他就一定要走出去。
As a businessman, I believe you have to go out into the world. That's how you discover opportunities. We're now developing small trailers that can be attached to mobility devices. Many people with disabilities make handicrafts, but they often struggle to ship and sell them. I hope these can help them not only go farther, but also earn a living.
让残疾人又能出去，又能赚钱，又能实现自己价值。
Besides trailers, Lu and his team are also working to develop new projects, such as smart stair climbing mobility devices and autonomous wheelchairs. Now at 47, he continues to set new challenges for himself.
其实我觉得老天为我关上了3扇门，第一扇门就是我的手。
I feel like life closed 3 doors on me. The first was my hands. I couldn't hold a pen properly or write my own name. But through practice, today my signature flows confidently across the page. The second was my mouth. For years, people struggled to understand me. Today, I give speeches across the country.
第三个呢是我的腿。
The third was my legs. I used to fall when I walked. A few years ago, I started running from 1 kilometer to 2, then 8. This January, I completed a 10-kilometer race, and now I'm preparing for my first half marathon.
然后我现在我还准备报一个我真正的半马。
Lu Hong's story is not just about overcoming a disability. It's about refusing to accept the limits others place on you. The boy who was once told he would never amount to anything has spent his life proving otherwise. And perhaps that's the most powerful part of his story. He didn't just change his own life, he helped others believe they could change theirs too. And that's all for this episode of Footprints. Thank you for listening. For more inspiring life stories, you can find us at radio.cgtn.com or on major podcast platforms. I'm Xingyu. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Disclaimer: this episode contains AI-generated voice content.